The Emergency Dispatch Communications Network protects all of us in case of an emergency. Let's find out what happens after we dial 911.
Dialing 911 in an emergency can be your lifeline when every second counts, but it can also be a frustrating experience for people on both ends of the line if you don't understand how the system works.
911, do you have an emergency?
Yes, it's an emergency.
Do you need the police, fire, or ambulance?
A fire! A fire!
What city, township, or borough? You stay on the line, I'll connect you.
For a closer look at this network, we visited Lancaster Countywide Communications, located in the basement level of the courthouse in downtown Lancaster. There I spoke with Dispatcher 21, Eric Vanneman, about the emergency dispatch process.
Well, basically, when they dial 911, a lot of people think you get right into whoever you want to talk to, like a police officer. What 911 happens is we have an operator for 911, and when you dial 911, it goes to the operator. The operator determines exactly who you want to talk to and sends your call to a dispatcher. The dispatcher then takes the information that they need and then gives it to an officer, fire department, police department, ambulance.
This center handles all fire, ambulance, and police calls within the county. Calls for the state police, however, are sent directly to the police barracks. There are normally 3 police dispatchers, each covering certain zones within the county.
D Delta, A Alpha, G Golf.
And over on the fire and ambulance board, there are 4 dispatchers on a normal day. For them, the county is divided into 3 zones, south, northeast, and northwest. Each is covered by 1 dispatcher, and the city calls are covered by the 4th person. As Eric told me, most calls are difficult because of the high level of emotion involved.
Most people that call in for emergencies are very high-strung. They have forgotten most of the information they want to tell you to begin with, so you have to calm them down, get them to talk to you. We've had people that call in and stop talking. They can't remember what to say or how to say it, so you have to coax the information out of them.
Here's what happens on a typical fire call. The dispatcher is given a street address only, and the caller hangs up. From the call, he moves to a reference book which lists the address, the type of structure it is, and indicates which ambulance and fire companies are to be called. He then refers to a card file for the address, which tells him what fire apparatus is to be used depending on what type of emergency is in progress, structure fire, vehicle fire, or other. Finally, he must look up the computer codes indicating the proper combination of tones to be sent to the station. When sent, the monitor is opened up on one channel and a verbal message is given. Then channel 2 of the same monitor is opened, turning on the siren. The message is repeated at least 2 more times and the units respond accordingly. How fast is the response time on these calls?
From the original phone call, from the pickup on the line, 99% of our calls are out within a minute and a half.
It may seem the questions are endless when dialing 911. They really aren't, and they are very necessary to ensure that the proper people are sent out to help. Please remember that water in a basement or lack of electricity are not emergencies to be called in on 911. There are other numbers listed in your phone book which will help you with these types of problems and not tie up the emergency lines. And the best thing you can do to ensure the fastest response from 911 when you do have an emergency is to keep all pertinent information near your phone. This includes 6 basic items: the town or township in which the emergency is occurring, the street address, the person who lives there, the phone number from which you're calling, the exact nature of the emergency, and your name. A copy of this sheet on which you can keep the information handy can be obtained by sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to Lancaster Countywide Communications, 50 North Duke Street in Lancaster, 17602. Finally, we'd like to assure everyone that the people who take your calls for emergencies are not uncaring. 24-year-old Scott Ruth has been at his job 4 years and says that all calls are difficult, but without a doubt, those involving children are the toughest. Julia Baltz is an 8-year veteran and said it was a rough start for her.
I used to do a lot of crying, and my fellow employees would say, you're going to make it, you're going to make it.
And one dispatcher deals with the stress of his job by writing poetry. Eric Vanneman shares a dispatcher's prayer.
May the boards be quiet this holiday season and the load be light to bear. May the public remember their homes and take some comfort there. May our friends and neighbors all understand, our spouses and children's too, that we won't be home for the holidays. It's part of the job that we do. May we all forget the money and remember the husbands and wives who are spending this time with their loved ones because we've helped in their lives. And in this holiday season, may we all receive some cheer and our minds be filled with peace as we work through the coming year.
And it's